Flash flooding for the West, Plains, Carolinas, and Northeast, and we also had severe weather for the Northeast and the Eastern Rockies. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. Today is August 24th, 2025. Starting with flash flooding, the Weather Prediction Center has issued 4 slight risk areas, or a 2 out of 4, in California, Utah, Kansas and Oklahoma, the Carolina coast, and we also have a marginal risk in the Northeast as well. Now for the West in general, from California, Nevada, Utah, and all those areas, you're going to see monsoonal rain, so you're going to see half an inch to maybe an inch of rain. And from Kansas to Oklahoma, you guys already seen remnants of last night's storms, and that's going to bring in like 1 to 2 inches, but today we may see an additional 1 to 2 inches again. Now for the Carolina coast, there is a low pressure offshore that's bringing in a lot of showers, and most of the rainfall should be offshore, but there is a chance to see some heavy rain along the coastline. And for the Northeast, along the central part of the state, such as Pennsylvania and New York, you guys are going to see 1 to 2 inches. So speaking of which, with severe weather, we have a marginal risk, or 1 out of 5 in the Northeast, but also in the Eastern Rockies as well. And what this entails is that we're only going to see an isolated chance to see winds greater than 60 miles per hour and large hail in both these areas. So for time frames in the Northeast, but also in Michigan, it looks like things are going to start around 20Z or 4 p.m. Eastern time. For the Eastern Rockies, the Central Plains, you guys have already seen remnants of those storms from last night, and that should dissipate by this afternoon. But there's going to be a resurgence of storms starting with eastern Colorado around 1 to 3 p.m. Mountain time, and that's going to travel eastward, and eventually later through the night we're going to see these clusters form again for Kansas and Oklahoma, bringing heavy rain. Places such as California, Great Basin, Four Corners area, you guys are going to see cells start initiating around 1 to 3 p.m. Mountain time as well. And for the south and southeast, you guys are pretty much going to be seeing isolated cells. And so speaking of the tropics, we do have tropical storm Fernand, which feels like it's missing an O. I've only known a Fernando. But in any case, just like Hurricane Aaron, it's going to be shifting eastward, and it's actually going to be missing Bermuda, so we don't have to worry about it at all. But we still need to keep an eye on the tropical disturbance south of it, where there's a 40% chance of something forming in the next 48 hours. Okay, so back inland, if we look at 500 millibars or midway through the troposphere, we still have that high pressure that's in the southwest that's bringing a lot of monsoonal moisture from the Gulf of California and just recycling it. And as we know, in the west, the terrain is very rigid and elevated, so we're gonna have a lot of orographic lift, or basically winds going up with the mountains to promote those upward motions to promote these storms. And with that, we do have an isolated dry thunderstorm risk from Oregon to California, where downburst winds and lightning may pose a risk for fire. And if we look at the Great Lakes region, we have a really broad trough, and that's going to be responsible for bringing all this cool air from the north to this area. So this trough is going to be the barrier between the warmer air and the cooler air. So along it, we're going to have a cold front going from Quebec all the way to the Eastern Rockies. And this surface cold front is going to help with the surface lifts from the northeast to the Eastern Rockies. But another thing that this trough is going to bring is a high pressure in the plains, and this high pressure is clockwise flow, and so it's going to bring in easterly winds into the Eastern Rockies. And with that, because the terrain gets higher, it's also going to cause orographic lift. And we can say the same thing about the northeast as well with those mountains, but with the cold front and a low pressure. And for the south, you guys are still having that stationary front that's providing that constant lift in a very warm, moist environment. And that's why we have